What's going on, guys? It's Jeffrey Rodriguez here, part of the Executive Advantage team, and we are going to be getting started in just a minute or two. Just waiting for Mark to jump on here with us, and we will be getting started. So if you guys can actually see the screen share, can you just type a 1 in the chat box real quick? That way I know you guys can hear me okay, and you're also viewing the presentation. Yes, Richard, this is actually live. We're on here right now. Cool. So if you guys could just drop a 1. Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys. Awesome. So if you guys aren't too familiar with like who Mark is, basically Mark is the co-founder of Executive Advantage, and he is pretty much the like messaging expert. So he is pretty much the guy that I go to for any questions about my messaging or optimizing my messaging to get like better performing campaigns. So this is going to be a really valuable webinar, and I would highly recommend everyone stay around to the end of the webinar so you guys can get access to the actual workbook and the slide deck as well, because there's going to be a lot of value in this. It's not going to be anything for sale or anything like that. We're just going to be covering basically actionable insights that you guys can apply to your LinkedIn messaging and kind of give you guys like the art and the science behind it as to like what Mark actually uses himself. So awesome. You guys can hear me? Luis, I see that you say no audio. So you guys, everyone looks like they could actually hear me. So Luis, I would just maybe double check that the audio is on your end, and maybe just like refresh the page or something, but we should be good to go. Awesome. So Mark, are you there?
Hey, Jeff. Yep, I'm here. How's everybody doing?
Awesome, man. Everyone can hear us and see your screen, and looks like we're ready to go. We can get started.
Okay. That's awesome. So yeah, let's dive in. I'm really excited to see everybody here. Really pumped, to share all this stuff with you. And we're just gonna really dive right in. I heard some of the things that Jeff was sharing with you just now, and that's awesome. All that stuff is totally accurate. We're gonna really dig into some real stuff today, and that's why I've been so excited to share this with you, because people talk about all the surface level fluff stuff when it comes to LinkedIn, when it comes to softwares and technology and tools and all those different kinds of things, but they never really talk about the actual nitty gritty stuff, the deep down, really scientific stuff that comes into play that actually makes it work. And that's this hidden art and science of strategic communication and persuasion that really allows you to craft that powerful LinkedIn messaging that's going to engage your prospects and to allow you to do it with certainty and not have to deal with the confusion that comes along with it and trying to make it work and just like kind of the guesswork that most people do, to be able to do it with confidence. And that's really what I want you to take away from this. And when you're able to master this skill, you can legitimately easily book 21 to 53 highly qualified sales appointments per week and do it consistently and really dominate that marketplace and do it without spending all kinds of money on paid ads or cold methods or using complex sales funnels and cold emails and all that kind of stuff that that you could be doing. This really does change the game. So let's dive in. I'm going to actually start the presentation here so that you guys can see it, and just let me know, Jeff. Can everybody see the presentation now that I've made it full screen?
Not yet for me, Mark. It's actually showing a black screen, so I would just exit out and double check. And real quick, Adele, just to answer your question, you don't actually need LinkedIn Sales Navigator. You could do this for just regular LinkedIn messages as well.
Okay, there we go. So can everybody see the full screen?
Yeah, it looks good to me, Mark. If you guys can see the screen, just drop a 1 in the chat box. That way we could just confirm. So if you guys can, okay, yeah, perfect. Everyone's dropping 1s, Mark. We're ready to go, man.
Okay, sounds good. And just one more housekeeping thing. Can you still see the screen right now?
No, when you do that, it goes black.
Okay. All right. In that case, we're gonna have to do it this way. Just bear with me here. I don't know why it's not letting you see it when we do it like that, but I want to just dive in here and get rolling. So you guys are going to be able to see the presentation on the left side of the screen, but that's going to be okay. All right. All right, cool. So let's dive in here. Let's dive in. So this skill that I'm talking about, okay, this skill that I'm talking about of the hidden art and science of communication and persuasion that nobody's really talking about when it comes to LinkedIn. This is really important. And when you are really able to master this skill, this is really going to turn you into a machine at booking sales appointments and generating those high ticket clients for your coaching, consulting agency, or your service-based business, any business that you're running where your prospects are identifiable by what they do on LinkedIn. This is really going to really make the difference and allow you to really become skillful at doing that. And it really legitimately gives you an unfair advantage in the marketplace because so few people have actually learned how to do this. And this skill that I'm talking about, like so many skills out there, this skill is immune to really any changes in technology, any changes in the tactics or the softwares or the social media platforms. It doesn't matter where you're using this skill. You don't have to be using it on LinkedIn to be effective. You don't have to just, rely on one channel to be effective. This is something that's going to stick with you. And that's why it's so important. And it really is just timeless. It's one of those few timeless things that you're always going to know is an asset that you can carry around with you and strengthen your arsenal when you're out there trying to grow the business. Okay. This isn't some like new gimmick that we're talking about here. And at the end of the day, this is really what makes LinkedIn work. This is what makes the entire engine run. Okay. If you don't have this, then it doesn't run. We're going to explain why. We're really going to dive deeply into it. And you'll understand why you need this to be able to actually book those sales appointments and scale organically. Okay. So before we dive in here, I really just want to emphasize something that I heard Jeff say, and that's there's nothing for sale here. This is really just actionable content to help you build this really highly profitable skill and to give you our team's just proven and battle-tested framework that's really going to give you that unfair advantage. And like I really do mean that. Like you actually cannot buy anything today. You cannot. There's nothing there. So if you have your wallet out, put it away. There's nothing like that. So we're going to dive in. And for people who might not be familiar with me, Jeff, I heard you introduce me, and thanks for that. Appreciate it. But I'm the co-founder of Executive Advantage, and LinkedIn messaging and positioning. What we're talking about here today on this training is my wheelhouse. It's my specialty. It's what I'm best at. And I'm going to take you through this 45-minute journey here, and we're going to walk through a 4-part journey throughout this entire training here today. And in this conversation, what I'm going to share with you is just really powerful concepts and principles and strategies that I have not shared outside my closest circle of business partners and clients. I really have not. This has all been private stuff until now, but I thought it was necessary to share it with you because it's just that important. And this framework, this whole process I'm about to show you, this is really what has been responsible, and it's been the vehicle for my team and I to build and grow our businesses from 0 to multiple 6 figures and do it in a matter of months. And just in the process, be able to impact the lives and businesses of now over 100 men, women, and families, and to see that grow and the impact grow every single day. And throughout this whole conversation, I want you to remember that there's a lot of content here. There's just so much stuff that we have to cover. And it really is a deep art and science. I don't use those words to exaggerate. So if you focus with me here until the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a free LinkedIn messaging workbook that I also haven't shared with anybody outside my private clients and inner circle. And that's going to help you not only master the stuff and review the stuff and reference the stuff that I'm going to share with you today, but most importantly, it's going to help you implement all of this stuff. Implementation. And that's what I want you to get out of today. I want you to have stuff that you can actually go and execute on, because one of my favorite quotes that a mentor shared with me that I'm always going to keep with me is that knowledge is power, but only applied knowledge gets results. Only applied knowledge gets results. You can learn all kinds of stuff, but if you don't apply it and execute it and put it into action, then obviously there aren't going to be any changes. And if you don't want to see changes and results from the stuff that you're going to learn, then I don't think you would be here. I think everybody here wants that. So definitely keep that in mind, and you'll be getting that at the end of the training, okay? So mapping the road ahead, I want everybody to understand exactly where we're headed before we actually dive in, okay? So like I said, there's 4 parts. In part 1, I'm going to share with you this unspoken truth, this thing nobody's talking about, and the key reason why most people actually fail to use LinkedIn to acquire clients. This is really that thing where you need to understand people's mistakes. You need to understand why they're not getting the results they want, and understand, most importantly, the current state of affairs. the facts of today and how things really are out there in the market, so that you can base your actions on real data and not just assumptions and emotions and stuff like that. And we'll talk more about that. But then I'm going to get into part two, which is really more about this skill that I'm talking about, this strategic art of communication and persuasion, and the new world of opportunity it unlocks for those who actually do master it. The few who master it, what they're able to do with it once they do. So you need to understand that as well, to know exactly what it is that you're building and why, right? And then part three, we're going to talk about the how, and that's what I'm really excited to get into and what I want to get into quickly. I want to make sure that we're talking, for the majority of our time here today, about the tactical stuff that you can actually put into action. So we're going to talk about the how in part three, okay? And we're going to talk about how to actually develop and implement this skill, and how to actually put this battle-tested framework into action, right? How to actually lay it out for you and know what steps to follow, and how to actually start doing some things once we get off here, okay? And then in part four, what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up by talking about how to go beyond the skill, how to not just limit yourself with the skill that you learn, but how to build a full system around it so that you can leverage it at scale and you can expand your efforts. You can do more than what you can as just an individual human being in less time and all that kind of stuff. And that's really what allows you to grow a real business. It's what allows you to really start to consistently and scalably book sales appointments, and to be able to do it over and over and over again with a repeatable process and hit that kind of multiple 6 or 7 figure level in what you're doing, okay? So with that, I want to get started. And if you're with me here, just drop a 1 in the chat if you're following me and you're ready to go, because I'm ready to dive into some stuff. All right. Yeah, looks like we're ready to go. Yeah, yeah, I'm excited too. So yeah, let's get started. Let's just dive in. And I want to talk about the foundation first. And like I said, I'm going to go through this earlier content a little bit quickly, because I really want to make sure that we're talking about the real tangible stuff, like I said. And before we do that, we got to set the foundation. We have to make sure that we're starting from a place that's based on real facts, real data. It's a strong place that we can actually get some lasting results with. And to successfully create anything new and meaningful and sustainable inside of our lives or our businesses, we really have to understand this. We really have to understand what our environment looks like right now. Right now. That's all that matters. So part one, like I said, we're going to be talking about that. So why do people use LinkedIn? Why do people use LinkedIn? What makes it such a great platform? And a lot of you are very familiar with LinkedIn already to a certain extent. A lot of you have been following the content that we put out, every once in a while, and the value that we try to put out there. So you're familiar with LinkedIn, but why do we really use it? And the reason why we use it is because it's such a large opportunity with a growing platform to reach the professionals that you need to reach, the decision makers that you need to reach, and actually find the high quality clients that you want, and you kind of shortcut those results to start conversations with the right people, right? And these are some just data points about LinkedIn. I don't want to spend too much time here because you're going to get these slides at the end of the presentation anyway. And it's just kind of a high level view of why LinkedIn is so great to get your high quality clients. And it's the world's most large and growing professional network, right? And they're trying to get to 3 billion users very, very soon. They're only 18% of the way there, but growing rapidly every single year. Already have 562 million users. And it's more effective than Facebook, according to a lot of studies, because you're directly networking with a lot of these people that you want to reach, right? And it's perfect right now because there's no competition and nobody is really leveraging the platform the way that they should, mainly because they don't have the skills that we're about to talk about today. But if you do have those skills, then you can talk to people directly and organically without paid ads, so produce super high profit margins, plenty of cash flow from day one, and you can get high ticket clients really at will if you know how to work the process. So I want you to remember these stats. I want you to reference these after the training, because you need to keep in mind how big of an opportunity LinkedIn is if you don't know that already. So I want to move on from there and talk about the most important thing, because the most important thing to remember is that your prospects on LinkedIn, they're there to do two things: either buy or sell. They're there to buy or sell. They're there to network with other professionals in their industry and find opportunities for their business to grow, or for their career to grow, their profession to grow. That's what they're looking for, unlike Facebook and other platforms where they're typically doing other things. and distracted by other things. On LinkedIn, they are focused and in the mindset of a business owner and somebody who wants to build in that part of their life. So you're not interrupting them or any of that kind of stuff. When you reach out to them, you are actually talking about real stuff. So that's really, really key. And that's what makes it so powerful. And I always think about Dan Pena, the $50 billion man. He said very recently, he said, for business, LinkedIn is the best social media marketing tool ever devised. And that is an absolute fact. I can't agree with him anymore. It really is the best marketing tool. But here's the thing. People still fail. And that's pretty crazy, right? If it's so great, like why do most people fail trying to do it? And the thing is, it might be a great marketing tool, but at the end of the day, guys, it is just a marketing tool. That's it. LinkedIn is nothing more than a marketing tool at the end of the day, no matter how good it might be. So what exactly is a marketing tool then? Well, a marketing tool, when you really break it down, you really dive deeply into it, a marketing tool is just a vehicle to communicate a message with other human beings. I want you to really take that in. It's a vehicle to communicate a message with other human beings. So if you don't know how to communicate, then LinkedIn doesn't work. You have to have this skill of being able to talk to another person if you want to get results. And you have to communicate in such a way that actually produces a specific and desired response from the human brain, a way that actually compels people and persuades people to take action, to actually do something, right? You can actually start a conversation with somebody on LinkedIn, but that doesn't mean they're actually going to take action. It doesn't mean they're going to want to get onto a phone call with you. Sometimes just because you message somebody on LinkedIn, it doesn't mean they're actually going to respond to you either. So you have to get very skillful at understanding how you're going to talk to somebody in a way that's going to get the response that you want, the engagement, the appointment, the conversation, whatever it might be. And most people fail because they're missing this one fundamental skill. They're missing this one thing. And every single thing, when I think back on it, every single thing that my team and I have created inside of our lives and our businesses is the result of this one skill. And it's the same for our clients. The results that our clients have created inside of their own businesses, it's all been the product of mastering this skill. And it's really fascinating to think of it that way, that one thing could have that kind of power. But, understanding this and understanding that while technology and marketing tools and software and all the tech and stuff that we've talked about and social media platforms, everything is going to change, it's going to evolve. More things are going to come, down the pipeline, every single day, right? The human brain is not going to change in our lifetimes. That I can guarantee you. Our brains are not going anywhere in how it processes information, the things it responds to. All of those things are not going to change in our lifetimes. So communication for that reason is a really powerful asset, and it's one most people never build, even though they need it for more than just business, for day-to-day life. To really get anything that you want in life, you have to be able to communicate with other people. And here's the thing. So for business, in today's market, a lot has changed, okay? A lot's changed. And it's an environment where it's become really necessary for you to build this skill if you actually want to succeed long term. It really has. It's pure necessity at this point. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this presentation to you today. And the reason why is because attention spans are dropping off a cliff. They're dropping off a cliff, and we know this. So the average attention span is around 5 seconds, which is less than a goldfish. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that statistic. It's less than a goldfish. They're about 6 seconds or something like that. And when you look at it, humans are competing with goldfish, and the goldfish are winning. That's pretty sad, right? That's pretty sad. And every single day it's getting harder. Every day attention is harder to capture, and this is going to continue. More and more things are going to continue to come around that try to pull us away from the things that we want to do in our lives and in our businesses. So there's only one result that can come from this. One inevitable result that can come from this. And that's that capturing attention isn't enough. Capturing attention is no longer enough. It used to be. Attention used to be everything, but attention simply is not enough anymore if you want to grow the business. The most successful people, and I want you to take this slide right here, because this is the one that really makes the whole necessity of building this skill kind of come home. Is the most successful people in the market are going to be those who can communicate powerfully and not only capture attention, but also protect and keep that attention. And then in that place, once they have that attention, allow people to recognize and understand their offer and value, and then ignite a desire to learn more about it that leads to them actually doing something, actually taking action and wanting to. And all of that starts with communication and a conversation. But people have not built this skill. Very, very few people have this skill, despite how important it is. And because of that, this is the typical experience on LinkedIn. This is the chaotic experience that we're all familiar with on LinkedIn. People are out there right now. They're spamming prospects. They're sending generalized messages to the masses. They're cold pitching their connections like shopping mall salespeople. We all know those people. When we're walking through shopping, they try to approach us and sell us something, right? People are trying to add value that nobody asked for or necessarily needs. People aren't even doing their research about what would be valuable to their prospects at all. And they're looking and sounding like every single other person, a generic carbon copy of everyone else in their market. And they're investing their valuable time and their energy, and sometimes their money, into leveraging the platform, but they fail to get the attention and the responses and the conversations that they actually want, and especially the sales that they actually want. So I've been there, so I get it. And it's kind of one of the reasons why I'm so passionate with you guys here about actually solving this problem and making sure that you don't have to run into the problem like everybody else is on LinkedIn. Because I remember when this was my experience too. I really remember when it was my experience too, clear as day. And, I was doing this, I was sending all these messages out. I didn't really know how to get results. But then somewhere along the way, I just woke up to this really powerful truth in my company as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. I woke to this truth that my ability, plain and simple, my ability to create and produce results inside of my business, inside of my life, it all depended on my ability to communicate powerfully and persuasively with people in my market. That's what it depended on 100%. My ability to communicate powerfully and persuasively with people in my market. And when I made a decision to actually master that, an entirely new world, and I'm talking polar opposite world, actually opened up for me. And that's what I want to transition into now, because that's going to be part two. I want to tell you about that new world. So now we've covered part one. That's the facts of today. That's what the market looks like. It's what's going on. And part two, I want to tell you more about this new world. I want to tell you what this new world looks like. And, just make no mistake here. Don't think I'm exaggerating. This is not some bullshit exaggeration. A new world is legit. So I just told you about, what's currently going on LinkedIn and how ridiculous it is, right? This is what's happening. Well, in the new world, in the experience that I discovered on LinkedIn by learning how to leverage this skill, I found this place where direct conversations are started at will, and booking 21 to 53, even more sometimes, sales appointments on the calendar per week, and doing it with a specific audience that I'm targeting, where people notice and they understand my expertise and my value, where not only do they want to talk and hear about what you have to sell, but also they ask you to talk. They request to talk to you and hear more about what you have to sell, instead of the other way around where you're usually chasing them. And also, at the end of the day, they thank you for your approach, and they're actually grateful for the opportunity to work with you and speak with you and ultimately invest thousands of dollars to be one of your clients. That's the new world. I mean, that's kind of different from the one that I first showed you, isn't it? So when I think about this and just the distinction between the two, I'll never forget when a prospect actually sent me a text message. I found this prospect on LinkedIn, and they sent me a text message after we had closed a deal from a conversation that originated on LinkedIn. They said, thank you, after we closed a $20,000 deal. This was a $6,000 retainer and a $2,000 setup fee. And they texted me after the conversation was over, excited, and said, thank you so much. I'm excited to get started with what we talked about. Just wanted to drop in and say thanks. And that kind of blew me away. That kind of blew me away, because I had never received a text like that before for somebody paying me 20 grand. it just kind of blew my mind. And I wondered, I said, what exactly was this person thanking me for? What are you thanking me for, really? Because it's not the product or service that I'm selling. That's not what you're thanking me for, not at all. It's way more than that. And I realized that what he was saying thank you for was this. He was saying thank you for approaching me open and authentically for once. Thank you for creating an experience where I could have a legitimate conversation with another human being about my situation. Thank you for taking the time to listen and understand my needs. Thank you for creating this rare experience that allowed me to learn and explore more about an opportunity. An experience where I could actually walk through a process for once to determine for myself whether this is right for me. Where I could actually gain some clarity from an expert like you and build that trust with that expert along the way and really feel good about the entire situation, and ultimately allowing me to make an informed decision from a place where I didn't feel pressured to spend thousands of dollars on my business or on a service or on a product just 1 second after meeting you online, like most people try to make me do, which makes it a decision that I can actually be excited about and not regret at the end of the day, right? No buyer's remorse comes along with this because of the process. And he said, thank you. So I was really blown away. And then all of a sudden, when I started helping people with LinkedIn, they started to reach out to me too and say, hey, Mark, I just got a message from a prospect who actually sent me this, and they would send me a screenshot of the message. And this is just one of them. I have so many. But this prospect said to my client, Sean, said, hey, Sean, I get a lot of these messages and usually ignore them. I respond with a clear no, or even give a little kick to those who show no consideration in their message. For you, it's different. I like the way you wrote your offer. I like the way you wrote, and your offer is interesting. And said, thank you. And Sean said, this is great. Like, this is such a different experience as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a salesperson. This is great. So different. So the point I'm trying to make here is that people who master this art and science called strategic communication and persuasion, they open up this world of possibility on LinkedIn and off of LinkedIn, really, where there's just limited competition. Nobody is doing it. You add massive value, like actual value. Real relationships are created, and clients are legitimately grateful and excited to have the opportunity to work with you. And obviously, that's way different from the typical world on LinkedIn, where most people are just another annoying noise and just a crowded res sea of other noises, just broadcasting generic messages and non-authentic sales pitches, boilerplate templates and crap, and constantly chasing prospects, just trying to convince them to give them a chance, and producing more headaches than results, both inside and outside of their business. Very different worlds. So I chose the new world. Which, I'll be honest, it takes a little bit of work, it takes a little bit of commitment and a little bit of patience to actually access it. But once you do, it injects your business with strategy, control, with absolute certainty and confidence about the actions that you're taking. And it unlocks the ability to book all of these sales appointments in a single week, consistently, for virtually free, where people are open and excited to speak with you and where they thank you in the end. That's the world that I chose. And all I needed was the key to unlock it. And that's what I'm excited to share with you right now. I'm excited to dive into the how of what it looks like to actually do that. So the facts of today, what it can look like when you have that skill, and the one that people are not using. And now I'm going to teach you how to actually develop that skill. I want to teach you how to use it. Okay. So there's a couple steps in how to do that. And the first one is very simple. And you're going to notice throughout this entire process where I'm teaching you this skill and these principles that I keep it simple. Because a big problem out there is that people overcomplicate things that don't need to be too complicated. So I want you to keep it very simple. And step one of 7, there are 7 steps. And step 1 is you need to identify the market. And as simple as this sounds, it's something that people struggle with and people ask me questions about every single day. They don't know how to identify their market. But every single thing starts with the market or the niche itself. It starts with the people within it. Communication starts with the people that you're talking to. That's always the first step with communication, especially when you're trying to communicate powerfully and compel a response, is to know which people you are communicating with, the relevant audience for you, okay? Because if you don't know who to target, it's really simple. If you don't know who to target, you can't actually craft messaging to reach them specifically or compel a specific response at all. You can't. And I mean, it reminds me of another thing a mentor once told me. If you're communicating with everybody, you're really communicating with nobody, because not everybody is actually going to hear you in the same way. So we have to make a decision on who exactly we want to talk to if we want to get any kind of results. If we want to do anything with this skill or in this process, we have to know exactly who's going to be walking through this process with us, right? Who are our prospects? So once we actually identify that, we have to run through step 2, which is to detach. And detaching from the market is super, super key for everybody. You have to detach. So once we've decided on this market, once we know exactly who the people are, we have to make sure that we're thinking about it objectively. That's what that means. We have to make sure we're thinking about it objectively. We have to detach from our natural preconceived judgments and biases and feelings about the market that we all have, all of our emotions and all that kind of stuff, our perceptions of what the market might look like, which are usually just inaccurate perceptions of how things really are. We have to really detach from those. And we have to do this in order to guide our actions and just make sure that what we're doing is based on real facts and reality. Real facts and reality of the market, not our personal illusions and assumptions about what the market might be doing. What we think the market is doing doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. We have to only base it on what it's actually doing, on our observations, on the behaviors of our prospects, what they're talking about, what they're thinking about, and all those things. And that starts with detachment. Okay? So a lot of people make this mistake, and we may think that people in our market have a certain pain or desire or belief or something like that, but that doesn't mean they actually do. And even if they did, it doesn't mean they would actually care about that problem. We might think they have a great big problem out there and that they're all dealing with this thing they really want to solve, but they might know about the problem, but they don't really care to solve it. They're not driven to solve it. So when you actually mention the problem, it's not going to actually compel them to do anything about it. It'll never compel them if that's the case and you're not on the same page. And this is something I want you to keep in mind really, really deeply, because it applies to everything in your business, no matter what you are doing. You can't control your outcomes if you're acting on the wrong information. If your actions are based on things that aren't facts, if they're based on illusions, well, all your actions are just delusion. Everything you're doing is all delusional if you're not basing it on a foundation of the right information. So completely remove yourself from the equation. Just take a complete step back, remove yourself 100%. And it's hard in the beginning if you've never done this before. It gets easier over time, but start looking at the market and people's behavior within it as an outsider, and only as an outsider, and base your decisions from there. And that's where step 3 comes in. That's where step 3 comes in. You need to analyze the market. Analyze the market. So from this detached place that you're in, now that you've actually identified the market and you've detached from it, now you're in this detached place, we need to form an accurate view, which will ultimately frame how we communicate with our audience. This is going to be the frame for everything. It's going to make sure that our actions are targeted at the right things with the right information for the right result. The way we do this is by actually talking to people in the market. It's, again, very, very simple. We have to talk to the people in the market that we actually want to help. We have to ask the right questions. We've got to understand them. And we ultimately have to discover their true nature. We have to understand the prospect's true nature. And this is the foundation of all marketing messages, all copywriting, all advertising, everything that gets results in your business. And without it, every single action that we take is a guess. Every single action is a guess. You're just throwing shit against the wall to see what's going to work. And you don't want to do that in your business. Without control, you don't have a business. So this is how you do it. Framing your market's true nature is a process. It's a process, but I'm going to give you a tool right now that you can use every single day with any product or service that you offer, any business you run, scale, or anything. You can use this tool to actually make sure that your messaging is going in the right direction. Okay? This is it right here for your messaging. This is called the true nature triangle. Finding your prospect's true nature, the real stuff you have to address in your messaging, the real way you have to frame your messaging in order to get that response from somebody. And it's made up of these 3 core components. There's the mass desire and triggers here on the left. There's their state of awareness here on the right. And the bottom is their state of sophistication. And I'm going to explain what each one of these things are. But you need all 3. And ultimately what they do is they make this frame of who your prospect really is and exactly what they need to hear and what they need to be exposed to in order for your message to get through, spark their attention, spark their interest, and get something going, okay? This is the tool right here. And I want to start with the mass desires and triggers. So first, the mass desire. What is a mass desire? Well, you have to discover a single overwhelming mass desire or problem or need in the market that exists where people just know in their hearts, in their minds, they know that they need to satisfy this. You're looking for that thing in the market right now that people need, and they're actively seeking to satisfy it. They're actively seeking for solutions. They actually want this to kind of go away or for something different to happen from what they are currently going through. And people only care about two things. This is why this is important. People only care about two things when it comes to business taking action or making a change in their life or whatever it might be. They care about getting away from a pain or getting to a new pleasure. They care about, getting out of hell, getting to heaven. Those are the only two things they care about, pain and pleasure. And I'll tell you that people will move way faster and way easier to get away from something than they will to get to something. If you talk about the situation that they're in right now that they don't want to be in and how that can change, or what the situation will be if they don't take action, they're way more likely to actually start doing something with the information you're providing or with the conversation that you're engaging in. Okay, so that's what you want to be thinking about when it comes to those mass desires, and there might be a lot of them. There might be a ton. You might come up with 10 possible mass desires in the market, and I say possible because you're not going to know if they're actually things that exist or not until you ask the market, until you test it and get things in front of them, right? But once you have a select number, once you have kind of an informed idea of what these mass desires might be, well, now you have to choose which one you want to focus on. You have to choose which one is actually the one that resonates with your market the most, the one they really want to solve the most. And that's going to depend on what you do and what you offer. It's going to vary from person to person, but no matter what, you want to choose the desire among those that you figured out. You want to choose the one that has the most power across these three dimensions. Which like the strongest levels in each one of these three dimensions. You want to find the one that has something where there's urgency and there's intensity and a level of demand to be satisfied. You want to find one that has staying power and a degree of repetition, meaning this is not going to go away. This problem that we're talking about here is not going anywhere. And number 3 here is the amount of people who share the desire. You don't really want to be marketing a problem that 5 people have. You want to be marketing a problem that, that 50, 500, 5,000, 5 million people have instead, because that's going to determine how long your business can possibly last, right? You need the people, no matter what stage of your business you're at. So if you can do that, if you have something that people want now, and they have an intensity, an urge, a desire to get, high demand, and that is not going anywhere, and there are a lot of people that actually have that, then you're in really good shape. And then you're looking at a mass desire that's actually going to be really powerful for your triangle here that you're building, okay? So the next part about these mass desires is digging into the thing that actually gets people to perk up and give you their attention, which is their emotions. So attention always comes from emotions. It always comes from feelings, and that's it. Without feelings and emotions, if we're numb to something, then we don't actually ever give our attention to something. We ignore it. It bounces off our shoulders. We don't even see it there. We might even be annoyed by it because it's irrelevant to how we actually feel and what we care about. So if you want attention, then you actually have to tap into those emotions and those feelings of your prospects. You have to know what those are. So to do that effectively, you've got to understand what those emotional triggers are inside of the people in your market, inside of your prospects. What are those? And that could be a bunch of different things, but this is a good list for you guys to keep in mind in terms of which ones are the most powerful. Which ones could you be tapping into that are going to make people really give you their attention, really listen to what you have to say. And these aren't in any order of strength or importance or anything like that, but these are the most powerful ones that get people to look and see what you're doing. And the first one here, frustration or anger, this actually might be the most powerful one. When people get mad about something, they're very, very attentive to what they're mad about, right? We've all been there. But frustration or anger about their current situation, if you can tap into that, you'll get their attention. empathy for others who've been through the same thing. You'll get their attention. Confusion about how to actually get to their desired future, how to actually get the result they want. Just uncertainty and confusion. That will get you somewhere. Joy that comes from having achieved their dreams, that idea of, oh my God, once I get there, this is going to look amazing. And the last two here are envy of what others have, jealousy, very, very powerful emotion. Excitement that comes from, just experiencing something new and doing something different. Like, that's all very, very powerful stuff. Very, very powerful stuff, no matter what it is that you sell. And you've got to know what those are when it comes to your prospects and pair that with that mass desire. That's how you build that left side of the triangle, okay? So that takes care of the left side, and I want to move on to the right side now and talk about state of awareness. Now, state of awareness is a very, very interesting one that not enough people talk about or are even aware of, actually, funny enough. So you need to discover how much people actually know right now about how your product or service can actually satisfy the desire or solve the problem that they want solved, right? How much do people know about your specific offer? I'm talking specifics here. What you do specifically. Maybe you're a digital marketer. Maybe you're a fitness trainer. Maybe you're an accountant. Whatever you do, how familiar are people with the fact that what you do can actually solve their problem or get them their desired result? Because that's going to inform how you're going to talk to them. So if they're really, really aware, let's say you're an accountant and you help people save on their taxes and get higher refunds and things like that. And let's just say you have a niche and you help people who are high net worth. Well, they know that an accountant can help them save money on taxes, make better filings, make better decisions with their finances, all those different kinds of things. They know that. They're very aware of what an accountant does, right? So that's going to inform your messaging. You're not going to want to talk to them about some like high level weird concept, because they know exactly what you do and how it applies to them. You can talk point blank about what you do and they will understand. And you want to keep it clear, keep it simple, make sure they get it when you talk to them. But let's say they didn't know about what you did. Let's switch it up. Let's say you're a Facebook marketer and you actually have a unique strategy with Facebook Messenger bots. And you're talking to somebody who's not very aware of anything marketing. They just started their business and they've never actually explored marketing before. Well, these people are not really going to know exactly what you're talking about when you say you offer Facebook Messenger bots to help them get some kind of result. They're not going to really understand what that means, right? So you're going to want to approach it in a different way and most likely talk about the result that gets them instead, not the actual literal thing. Okay? That's the difference there. That's the distinction that you want to make. So state of awareness, how much do people know? How much do people know? And that ties right into the next one, which is state of sophistication, okay? So state of sophistication, you have to ask yourself, okay, what market am I in? Who are my prospects? And most importantly, how many other related or similar products or services have these people been exposed to before mine? How many times a day are they getting exposed to what I do? Let's take the marketing, for example. Let's take attorneys or something, or dentists or some crowded niche like that. They're getting bombarded every single day by thousands of marketing messages with people saying they want to help them get more leads for their business and grow and all these different things. And we've seen it all over the place. I'm sure some of you have gotten these messages too. And if that's the kind of niche that you're in, there's nothing wrong with that if that's the kind of niche that you're in. But you have to understand that these prospects are very, very sophisticated when it comes to having seen a bunch of similar products, having seen a lot about your business, a lot about what you can do, a lot about how it works, and a lot of different offers, even different price points, all kinds of different stuff. And sometimes they've actually tried a lot of this stuff too, a ton of stuff, right? And because of that, because that's their situation, if you approach them and talk about just what you do and you talk about that specific thing in and of itself, like everybody else does, well, they're not going to see you as any different. They're going to see you as just like another one of those guys, another one of those businesses, another one of those entrepreneurs, marketers, salespeople, whatever it might be. That's what they're going to see you as, because they have a bias built in their head. They have a bias built in their head. They have a way of thinking about your industry, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. They have something in their mind that they associate with what you do. So you're going to have to approach it a little bit differently to get them to notice what you do, whether it's the same as somebody else or not. So when you combine that with state of awareness, and you combine that with their desires and their pains and their needs and their emotional triggers and the stuff that they actually care about deeply, that's when you start to understand the stuff that matters for your messaging. Okay? That's the bottom line. Understanding our prospects' true nature is understanding them at this deep core level on several different angles. And when you put them all together, you have this identity of your prospect and this frame for your messaging where you can very, very easily see when you craft that messaging, whether it makes sense to send to your prospects or not. It's very easy to see it right out the gate, very, very fast and repeatable. You can say, okay, this is a good message to send out. This will make sense. This will get attention. This won't get attention. You can make decisions very, very quickly. Okay. So that's the tool. That's the tool. Keep that in mind as you start to craft your messaging. And now I want to talk to you about how to do that. So that's step 4. Step 4 of these 7 that we're talking about is how to actually craft what is called your value statement. Your value statement. This is the thing that gets you attention. This is the most important part of your messaging, actually. It's how you really position yourself as a vehicle to get your prospects to their desired future. Show them that that's what you do. Introduce them to what you do. And, more importantly, it's how you make them notice. This is how you make their ears perk up and actually see the value that you provide to spark that engagement in the first place. It's very important. So remember, this market you're in, whatever it might be, the people don't care about you. They only care about how you can solve their problem. It's the problem that matters, and that's it. So focus on the problem. Focus on the desired future that they're going to get by working with you, not just yourself and what you do and your background, your expertise, all that kind of stuff. You have to frame it in a way where you're talking about the problem. And this is how you do it. So the value formula, plain and simple, is broken down like this. It's I help this audience that we figured out already to solve this problem and get this desired result, and do that through my proprietary method. I help this niche specifically, as specific as possible, to solve this problem, get this desired result, and do it through my proprietary method, okay? So a lot of you are probably asking right now, what is a proprietary method? What are you talking about? And what I actually mean by a proprietary method is this. A proprietary method is your unique process. Everybody's unique. Everybody has different skill sets and abilities and approaches to different things, no matter what. But this is the unique process that you have at your disposal. It's a new mechanism to get your clients results. This is your literal vehicle that they're going to get into that they have not seen before, but is going to take them to where they want to go. That's what the proprietary method is. So like we talked about with the state of sophistication, the state of awareness, if your market is at this stage, right, where they've actually heard all the claims, they've heard, all the different extremes and everything about what you do from so many different people, well, just repeating everything and just exaggerating the same words and offers and all that kind of stuff, all that stuff will not capture attention anymore. It won't capture interest anymore because they've heard it all. So you need this kind of new device to make all the old claims become fresh and interesting and believable again. You have to show them something they haven't seen before. Even if you're showing them something similar, they have to see it as your unique value that you bring to the market. That's the key. And this is the case for most entrepreneurs. Most things that people sell are commodities. Most people are selling things that are sold by hundreds or thousands of other people. Most of everything that people create and offer to the market is not new. So when that's the case, you have to blast through the noise and show how you are different, because you are. Everybody is. But you have to show the market. They have to know that. They have to recognize that if you want them to listen. So this is a powerful way to stand out in your marketplace, in your niche, no matter what it is that you sell. Whether this is your situation or not, is always going to be powerful because people are not going to have seen what you do before. So these are some examples of a proprietary method, what it looks like. Many of you are familiar with Frank Kern, legendary marketer. Well, he went from selling paid ads and webinars to making a transformation into a proprietary method of intent-based branding. He didn't change anything about the offer. He just changed it into a formula, into a framework that he named intent-based branding. And some financial planners that we've worked with, they were focusing on the aviation industry. Well, they were selling comprehensive financial plans to their prospects. Well, they changed that to Pilot Income Accelerator. Pilot Income Accelerator, gave it a name, a process, a framework that's new and unique and different. And my partner, Mitch, he went from selling LinkedIn and sales funnels to financial advisors when he was focusing on that niche for a long time. And those financial advisors wanted to secure more assets under management. That's what AUM here stands for. It's a buzzword in the industry. Well, he changed his offer from LinkedIn and sales funnels to advisors into the AUM acquisition formula. The AUM acquisition formula. So assets under management is something that really sparks a nerve inside of financial advisors' minds, and the pure framework and name of this process, the system that he had that was unique to him. That's what they saw, and all of a sudden it makes all the difference. So what I encourage you to do with this information, what I want you to do is I want you to actually create your method. What is your method? What could that look like? What is your unique vehicle? And give it a name. Give it a name. And there's a big, big reason why I say give it a name. Big, big reason. And I want you to think about this. Every single person associates everything with names. Since birth, we've associated everything with names. Everything official has a name. We have names. We're given a name at birth. We know our parents by their names, know our friends by their names, our associates by their names, our coworkers, everybody in our life, we know them by their name. And every single product or offering or service or whatever it might be, if it has a name, subconsciously it makes it very official. If it has a name, it is pure legitimacy. Pure legitimacy if it has a name. And because of that, if you give yours a name, it's going to make people all of a sudden look at you in this big crowded sea of other people that are marketing their products and services and say, oh my God, this is something different. This is something official. You know, this is a unique thing. It has its own name. It has its own name. I mean, as ridiculous as this sounds, this is fact. It has its own name. Oh my God, it must be something more real than everybody else is offering out there in the market. And I haven't seen it before. It's unique because it has a name. And I haven't seen this name before. So let me find out what it is. Let me find out a little bit more. And that will make a lot more people notice what you do and want to hear more about exactly what it is you offer. And the funny thing about it is they won't even notice that you have any similarities to anybody else because, like I said, you are unique. It's just about getting people to listen to you, right? So the last thing that you ever want in your market, and I said it before, but I'm going to say it again, is to be known as just another blank, just another marketer, just another salesperson, just another consultant, just another lawyer. Doesn't matter what it is. You don't want to be known as just another one of those guys. So with a proprietary method, you avoid that and you put yourself into a situation where you become a rare breed. No matter what market you're in, you are a rare breed within that industry. Your prospects know it and you've known it for a long time. It's just now they actually see it. Okay, so when it comes to crafting the value statement, keep all of these things in mind, but you can reference this example here because it really does lay out the structure that I just had, above for you, and those blanks filled in. So here's just an accountant example. Let's just say you're an accountant and you help people solve the problem of being more authoritative with their brand and getting more brand awareness and exposure within the industry because there are a lot of other accountants out there, right? Let's just say that's what you do. Your value statement might be, I help accountants to get qualified appointments with business owners and acquire 1 to 3 outsourced CFO clients per month with my accountant brand authority system. So, the pain that you're helping people get away from is that they can't get qualified appointments. They're struggling to get qualified appointments, and that matters for some reason that right? And the pleasure they want to get to, the heaven they want to get to, the new situation that they want to be in is having 1 to 3 outsourced CFO clients per month. And the way that you do that is by improving their brand authority, improving their brand awareness and their presence within the market, help them stand out and attract more clients with your accountant brand authority system. So in this world where these people that you're looking for as this kind of a business owner, when the people that you're looking for, they want their brand to be increased, they want to have more authority and stick out. When that's the situation, all this stuff exists. Well, this formula here blasts through the noise of everybody else who's offering anything branding related. It doesn't matter what anybody else is offering, because when you present it in this way, people are focused on the value, they're focused on the pain that they're getting away from, they're focused on the result that they're getting, and they see somebody who has a unique process to do it. They see you, who's different from everybody else out there, okay? So when you're building this for yourself, and like I said, this is about implementation. I want you to take action and actually put this stuff into your business and what you're doing as fast as possible. And what I want you to do is go through these questions. Go through this exercise and say, okay, what is my niche? Most importantly, what is my sub niche? You know, how deep and specific can I go? And write that down. You know, who's the specific person that I'm helping? And then what's the main problem that I'm solving? What's that mass desire? You know, what am I actually solving for people? Where am I taking them? And ask them, you know, what are all the details of that desired situation? You know, what do they really want deep down? What does it really look like for them? And then ask yourself, what is your proprietary method or new mechanism to actually get them there? Brainstorm that, give it a name, and put it out there into the market. And you will see a big difference in the amount of people who want to hear what you have to say and know more details about it, okay? So that takes us to step 5. And when you have your value statement, this is when you're actually able to start to reach out to people on LinkedIn. This is when you can start to do that. And your value statement, you can put it anywhere you want to. It can be on your LinkedIn, on your Facebook, it can be on your sales pages, on your ads. It doesn't matter. You can put it anywhere you want to. It has the exact same effect if you're targeting those same people. But before you actually put it into any kind of a LinkedIn message or anything that you're going to send out to your prospects, you want to set your intentions. And I see this everywhere in the market. People are just taking actions without knowing why. They're not understanding why. So, you know, before you do anything, just remember that every single action that you take, it's only intended to get to the next action. Whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter. Ask yourself why you're doing it. Why am I saying it this way? Why am I reaching out like this? With every line, every word, everything you say in your marketing, why am I doing it? Because there's an intent behind it. And when there's an intent behind it, you know you're going to get a specific result or not get a specific result. And whichever way it is, you can improve and change things from there, okay? So our first goal here, when we send LinkedIn messaging out, our first goal is simply to get prospects to engage with us. That's it. We want to spark a conversation. We want to elicit that response from people and get them to ask more, you know, get them to do this dance with us, actually have a conversation and network, right? That's it. We want them to engage. That's all. And engagement can be as simple as a connection, but only when a prospect engages with us do we actually think about converting them into a sales appointment or closing a deal. You're not thinking about a sale right now at this part of the process. You're only thinking about getting a connection, some engagement, a response. That's it. And when you think about it that way, it's really easy to understand the process a little bit easier and keep it simple. And you can look at this at the next step, the first step of engaging with your messaging, and that is to authentically connect with people. Okay, you want to authentically connect. Authenticity is everything. In today's market, your ability to authentically connect with your prospects on a meaningful level and just have legitimate conversations, genuine conversations and engagement, and build those relationships, that's mandatory for you to maximize your sales and your marketing results. Authenticity is everything. It's mandatory, and it's become so rare these days. And I hear it all the time, people telling me everywhere with everything I do, authenticity and transparency are so rare that their value has just skyrocketed significantly. Like anything in life, when something is in short supply, the value of it is immense, right? And authenticity is no different. People crave it, people want it. It's always been a good thing, but now it's so rare that when you are authentic, it's a breath of fresh air for the people that you're talking to. So with that in mind, keep these rules in your tool belt and make them something to live by when you're on LinkedIn and actually reaching out to connect with people. So when you're connecting with people, if you want to maximize the number of connections that you're actually getting, these are really important. You don't want to be sending messages that are really generic and boring. We've talked about that. You don't want to come across as another one of those guys out there. You don't want to be sending something that people will be numb to. Remember, you want to tap into those emotions, those triggers, right? And you want to make sure that you're not just pitching them out the gate. Don't send people messages and connections on LinkedIn just saying like, hey, buy my stuff, or hey, check out this event, or hey, check out this website, or my PDF guide that I built for you, or my audit that I did for you, or anything like that. Don't do that in your invitation. It's the same as you walking up to a stranger and saying, hey, do you want some free candy? or being in a mall and having somebody approach you out of nowhere and say, hey, you want to buy some cologne or whatever it might be that they're selling in their particular booth or whatever it might be, right? You don't want to come across like that. You want to come across as a normal human being. So approach casually. Approach casually without an agenda and not like a typical salesperson. Just approach them just like you would in person at any kind of function or event or just out and about doing your thing in life. Like, just approach them like you would anybody else. And before I go into number 4 and 5, that brings up a really good point, and that's why I'm happy that we're live here, because I can do this. Is people think that the internet has kind of changed things. They think that the fact that we're talking to each other via messages and texts and social media and everything, they think that changes things with how we talk to people, how we communicate with people. But it doesn't. It doesn't. That's the thing. It doesn't change anything. There's still a person on the other side. So just because there's a computer screen in front of you or a phone in your hand, it does not mean that all of a sudden your approach to talking to somebody who is a brand new connection changes at all. It's all still the same thing, because people, again, remember, they're going to process information with their brain in the same way no matter what, and that's not going to change. So speak to people like people. Just speak to people like people. Don't treat them as a transaction. Don't try to sell them. Don't try to do any of this stuff that you wouldn't do in real life, and you'll get way better responses to everything that you're doing, okay? And ask yourself this question if you are spinning your wheels and you're not sure if your message is going to resonate with the audience you're reaching out to, or if you don't know exactly whether it's a good idea to send this message out to somebody. Ask yourself, how would I respond to this message if I got it? How would I respond if I got this message myself? What would that look like? Because I guarantee you, there are people out there, a lot of people out there, who would respond the exact same way as you. A lot of people out there, because we're just talking about general engagement here. So if you can think about yourself, and like, if I got this message, what would I do? I would ignore it probably, or I'd be annoyed or something like that. It's probably not a good idea to send it out to all your prospects. That's a very good baseline to have when you're just stuck. So always keep that in mind too. These are the top 5 rules to maximize your connections. And this is a really proven example of many that we've tried, many that we've tested and proven out. This is a really, really good one that kind of proves this point. Just, hey, John, looks like we share some similar interests in health and fitness, for example. And, I'm sure we know some people in common too. So I just figured, let's connect if you're open to it, John. And here you're just shrugging your shoulders. Like, this is super casual. Doesn't really matter that much. It's just a new connection that makes sense. So, I figured let's connect if you're open to it, John. And this message gets amazing results. Amazing results. This is just some of the stats from using a message with this kind of a format in our experience. So you can see 9,626 connections and 44% connection rate. So you're adding a lot of new people who are in your ideal audience to your network when you're using this kind of an approach versus all the questions that I get all the time where people are saying my connection rate is 10%, 15%, or 17% or something like that. I don't know how to increase it. This is how you increase it. You stop sounding like a robot, and you stop using templates, and you stop sounding like everybody else and all the rules that I told you about. That's how you improve it, and you treat it like a normal human interaction where you're building your network. It's powerful, really powerful. And I don't want you to send messages like this. I want to really tell you what not to do, because I think that's just as powerful as learning what to do, okay? So these are directly from my profile. Directly from my profile. I've got a bunch of these. I love sharing these with people because they're just great examples of why people aren't getting results. So this person just says, hey, Mark, please add me, thanks. Please add me, thanks. Imagine if you were out somewhere and somebody just came up to you and said, hey, be my friend, please. Or, hey, please give me your number. Or, hey, join my Facebook group. I'll shoot you a link right now to your phone. What would be your reaction if that was the case? I don't care how friendly and happy this person looks, how energetic and open they might look. If they approach you and the first thing they say to you is, hey, give me your number. What are you going to do? You're going to say, get away from me, please, right? You're not going to want to talk to that person. And that's what people are doing on LinkedIn. I get messages like this all the time. And it makes it even worse. I can see that this person is just a marketer, and this is just how they're trying to find their prospects. So don't do this. You're going to really increase your results if you do. So this is another one that I love. This is one where people are actually trying to sell you and try to pitch you out the gate. No actual connection, no engagement, or anything like that. Hi, Mark, I see you're with Executive Advantage Co. and wanted to connect with you. Our resort hosts corporate retreats in Montana. Would you be interested in connecting with us for a couple minutes? or I can send you some more information. Thanks. That's not something that's going to get you results either. I mean, first of all, no consideration here about who I am, what I do, anything like that. Whether I would even be interested in going to Montana, whether I'm interested in going to a retreat or anything like that. I don't know what you do, but you're just going to ask me if you can send me more information or get on a phone call about your event. No thanks, I'm going to move on, and so would you. And this is the last one that I have for you, which is, I would love the opportunity for a phone call. Please let me know what works best. Nothing else involved. Nothing else involved. And I look up at their headline and I see, well, okay, you're a recruiter and a wine enthusiast, and you want to pitch me on starting my own wine business. That's okay. I mean, as exciting as that might be, I am not interested, so I'm going to move on. And who knows? Maybe I would have engaged with them if he had started the conversation differently. Probably not. But I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who would and would love to start a wine business and be in that industry, okay? So keep that in mind. And when you do, you can start to focus on how to convert those people. And this is key. This is so key, because there's a whole different ball game that comes into play when you want to convert. So it's one thing just to get your prospects to connect with you. It's an entirely different beast to get them to respond to your messages, and then of course convert them into booked sales appointments, right? Where you're talking about what you do. So again, when it comes to conversions, set your intention. Set your intention first. And after connecting, that goal is simply just get the prospect to schedule a 15-minute call. You're not trying to sell them here. You're not trying to close them here. You're just trying to get them to book a 15-minute call with you. And I'm going to explain more about why you do that a little bit later. But just get their email, get their phone number, get their contact information, and jump onto an intro call with them. And that's all you want to do right now. It's very, very simple. And this process is done in 3 steps. So once they connect with you and you're within each other's network, then all you're going to do is you're going to spark some curiosity. You're going to respond to them with just a casual, hey, cool. Thanks for connecting. Great to be in your network. I checked your profile again and I saw that you do some pretty cool stuff. Just to give you, a quick background of what I do. Shrug your shoulders again, this isn't that big of a deal. Give you a little quick background about what I do. I insert value statement. Insert value statement. The whole purpose of crafting that value statement was to tell people like this in this situation exactly what you do, so that they see that and say, oh my God, this person is perfect for what I have going on. And they know exactly how I feel and what I want to accomplish. And once you give them that value statement, you're going to just end it with, you can end it in a couple ways. You can ask them straight up and say, hey, so that's not something that would be of interest or value to your business, is it? And if not, that's totally okay. I'm just really looking forward to being connected here on LinkedIn and seeing what you do with your company. I mean, it looks great. Just be very, very casual. You wouldn't be interested in that. If so, let me know. But if not, totally cool. Great to be connected, right? Very open response, non-salesy. It's very human. It's just networking. It's all networking at the end of the day. It's just networking. And from there, once you're actually able to do that, then you can gain the commitment. They'll respond to you and they'll say, yeah, I am interested. I actually do want to learn more about what you do. And then you can finalize a date, finalize a time, get their email and phone number, and you can send them a calendar invite, and boom. Now you have a 15-minute call on the calendar. Now you have it teed up for you to actually move into the actual sales process and have a deeper conversation a little bit further down the line. And that's the cycle. That's the cycle. Over and over and over again, that's the cycle. So authentic connection, then 3-step conversion process, then you're going to have that conversation and you're going to repeat the process. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. Over and over again, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. So there's so much that goes into this. So much that goes into it. We train our clients for dozens and dozens of hours on this stuff, on this topic. There's so much finesse and science that goes into it that I can't even cover it in, an hour and a half or whatever we have today and the time we have today. So that's why I want you to have the workbook that I mentioned in the beginning of this session. I want you to remember that this has everything that we've covered so far, but it also has deeper strategies, some more elaboration on these concepts, and something, it can serve as a tool for you to actually master this stuff a little bit deeper. It goes way deeper, in fact. So that's something to, keep in mind. Okay. And I'll give that to you if you just keep focused with me here until the end. And, we've one more phase to go into, because now we've talked about the current state of the market. We've talked about where things are currently at. We've talked about, what the world looks like when you're one of the rare people who has this skill of messaging that we've talked about. We've talked about the how. We've talked about exactly what goes into it and all these formulas to, make it work. But now I want to talk about part 4, which I mentioned earlier, which is building a complete and automated system around this skill and using that as leverage, so you can consistently, book these sales appointments and do it at scale and do it repeatably, so you can grow as big as you want to, right? And I want you to really understand this, what I'm about to say. This is all stuff that you can put into action right now. You could leave here right now and actually go and get results on LinkedIn that are better than 99.9% of people that are using the platform, and I mean that. Absolutely, you can do that. Like, you can actually go out there and you can create powerful messaging and really communicate with intent and get people onto phone calls and all that kind of stuff at this very second. And you can start to engage with these prospects and having that confidence and certainty. And you can do that at will and just get people on the phone and start growing your business, or at least getting some results from LinkedIn. You really can. But for those of you who really want to master the skill and then just leverage to scale the business and really take it to the next level, this isn't enough. And I want to share with you this problem that I experienced in my business. My business partner, Mitch, he experienced it in his. And I think everybody does, because it's a consequence of being human. And it's the reason why crafting powerful messaging is not enough if you really want to scale up to the next level. You have to be able to deploy that messaging at a large volume and get in front of the right people and do it frequently, do it consistently, and just do it repeatedly if you want to convert them into new clients and just, really take it to that next level. And that requires a few key things we haven't been able to talk about because we just don't have time. So these are the 3 components that are involved. So you need knowledge-based targeting. That's number 1. Knowledge-based targeting, this is about identifying those prospects like we talked about before, but it's about targeting them and having a deep understanding of that niche. Going several layers deep beyond that surface level to really discover where you can offer the most value to your niche, which is also where you're going to find the most profitable prospects, okay? It's about identifying sub-niches at the end of the day and getting very specific. And number 2 is about messaging and positioning. We've talked about messaging today extensively and really finding that true nature of the prospect. But what goes along with that you also need to stand out as not another one of those people in your marketplace is to be seen as that specialist and expert authority in the space. You have to position yourself and showcase the fact that you are somebody who knows what they're doing, who commands that authority position within the niche, and you're somebody that your prospects should be listening to. You're somebody that your prospects see as somebody unique, but also want to learn more because they know that you really know what you're doing. You want to position yourself in that way, and not somebody who's like just starting out or anything like that. You want to command that respect. So that's another piece of the puzzle. And the next one, and the most important one that I'm going to dive into even deeper, because I need you to understand this, is setting up an automated machine to just deploy your messaging and engage your prospects and do it in a predictable and repeatable way, having a process that you can repeat to qualify and close new clients from LinkedIn and really whatever platform you're using. But specific to LinkedIn, you need a process to bring them off of LinkedIn, qualify them, and close them into new clients for your business, okay? And the reason for that is really, really simple. This is one of my favorite quotes from Henry Ford, and it really makes this point. Henry Ford said, "Man minus machine is a slave, and man plus machine is a free man." And the first time I heard this quote, I thought, what does he mean? What is he talking about? What is he really getting at with this? And what he's getting at is really simple. There's a consequence, like I said, of being human. We're all limited by this curse of humanity, where we're just limited by our time, our energy, our capacity, our resources. Everything is limited and finite when it comes to us as flesh and blood people. That's just a fact of life. It's a fact of physics. You can't get around that, right? And because of that, there's only so much we can do. We can grow to as big a level as we want to, but there comes a time when you hit a ceiling because you're either out of energy, you're out of time, you're out of capacity, you're out of resources, and there's no way around that. And in my own experience, I was doing things as a solo, doing things, messaging prospects. I had mastered this skill. I was messaging prospects, and I was getting people onto the phone. I was closing deals, and I was able to get up to 15, 16, 18, 19K a month, right? But then I had to think, what's going to happen in 3 months from now? I'm exhausted, and I don't have much time to deliver my service to people. And I'm running out of my capacity and bandwidth every single day to even find new clients, to message more clients. to get more people onto my onto my services, my plans, and everything. I'm running out of capacity. What do? In 3 months, I'm going to hit a ceiling. There's no way I'm not going to hit a ceiling. So I had to start to think. And what ended up happening was I said, I need help, whether it's a team or it's a system or it's a process or automation, whatever it might be, I need help. And I started to think about it, and that's how it works in life. Technology is what allows us to do that. You know, technology is really what unlocks that full potential that we have, raises our ceiling, expands our capacity, and all that kind of stuff. You know, whether it's looking back to, you know, going from walking around to riding a horse, or riding a horse to having a car, or whatever it might be, or the phones in our hand versus not having them, you know, years back. No matter what, it's expanding our capacity to do something. And in business, you need these systems, these repeatable processes, and things that can work on your behalf for you. And you want to pair man with machine. Pair man with machine. That's what Henry Ford was really getting at. You have to pair man with machine, and that's what really creates unlimited potential of what you can actually do in your business. That's what he was talking about. And when I look at the space shuttle image, I think of Neil Armstrong and how as one person, Neil Armstrong was just a human being on planet Earth, but combined with our technology and a rocket ship, he ends up walking on the moon. If that doesn't show capacity through technology, I don't know what does. So that's what I want to talk to you about here, is just how to build that, you know, what that looks like. You know, no matter how you get it done, what that looks like, how to, you know, understand the pieces that go into that. And the pieces are things that people misunderstand all the time. I see it every single day, people using LinkedIn very, very wrong, trying to do this and get these systems up and running for their business. And it's not as easy as just having some shitty Chrome extension and putting in some template that you found online and having that, you know, send out to people that you found in like a normal, regular search on LinkedIn. It's not that easy. That's not how it gets done. And you know that now after walking through this process with me. You know that after all the stuff that I've shared with you. And you want to avoid that. At all costs, you want to avoid it. It doesn't work. It's a waste of your time. And we're talking about maximizing your time, right? Not wasting it. So the way you do it is you look at it as this kind of a process. This is the process that you want to follow when it comes to having a machine set up for your business. You need sub-niche targeting and your strategic messaging that we've been talking about. The people and the message, and you want to put that into an automated machine, have that go out to your prospects, and then you want to have a pre-selling mechanism that you can put in front of them, which I'm going to tell you about in a second, and then move them into your repeatable closing sales process where you can actually convert them from connection to client and do it again. Okay, that's what the process looks like. So if we look at the input is all about the sub-niche targeting first. Remember, we want to start with the people who we serve, right? We want to start with those people first. And we're going to do that via Sales Navigator on LinkedIn. I know a lot of you have it. If you don't, you should look into it, because it's really how you dig deeply into a niche and find those people that make sense for your business. So here is just an example of specific kinds of personal injury attorneys and what they do and what state they're in New York. You know, more than 10 years of experience and a company headcount that's 11 to 50 or 51 to 200, right? Getting very specific here. You can get even more specific and dialed in, but you want to use this platform to actually find those people and create your audiences, okay? At this point, you should already have your strategic messaging, right? You should know, if you've been in that niche for a while, exactly, you know, what those points are that you should be hitting, and if not, it's time to craft that. And once you have that, you can put it into the automated machine. It'll go out to those specific prospects that you found on Sales Navigator, and it'll start that 3-step conversion process that I told you about. That's how it works. So you're going to have the machine engage that process for you, connect with the people that you want to talk to, follow up with the people that you want to talk to with the messages that you already crafted, because you know your market so well and you know how to execute the triangle, you know how to execute the 3-step conversion, you know all this stuff. So it will follow up with the message you already crafted. And people are going to respond to you if they're interested in having a conversation. All you have to worry about is the people responding to you who want to have a conversation. And from there, all you have to do is the next couple steps of the process. You want to finalize that time, confirm that interest, get their email and phone number, book that on the calendar, and you are good to go. Okay? And I promised you that I was going to share with you why you do a 15-minute discovery call first before you do an actual closing call. What I mean by that is don't try to sell people on the first call. Big mistake that I see people make on LinkedIn all the time is they try to sell people on the first conversation they have with them. They think it's a warm call. I asked so many people about this over the years. I said, why are you trying to, close people on the first call? And they say, well, Mark, it's a warmer call. I'm connected with them on LinkedIn, and they've seen me, they know what I do. And I tell them, no, they don't. These people have no idea what you do. They saw your headshot. They might have glanced at your profile, but even if they did, even if they read the whole thing, they forget at this point what you actually do. And they most likely forget exactly what this call was about. You just had some little chit chat online, and of all the things that they have their attention focused on and all the other things that are pulling them in all these different directions, like we've said earlier, they have no idea who you are. This is a cold call. This is practically a cold call that just happens to be on the calendar. So you want to treat this as something like that and not a warm call. It's a little bit warmer than a cold call, but that's the reality. So when you treat it like that and understand that your purpose on that call is to qualify them for yourself and qualify your value to them. Basically, and what I mean by that is you want to make sure that there's somebody that you think you can get results for. There's somebody that you think you offer extreme value to and you can help and you want to help. Most importantly, you would enjoy helping and you would get great results for. And then understanding that they are the right fit for whatever reasons you need to qualify them, but making sure that all that work is done then so you don't waste your time later. I mean, how many people have gone through an hour-long phone call with somebody on a sales call and then they come to find out at the end of the call that the person is not even a good fit at all, like on a bunch of different levels for what they do. We've all been in that situation. It's very, very annoying, but you can avoid that if you just qualify them up front on a 15-minute call, very casual, nonchalant, non-salesy, pure networking, and then book the call from there. And when you can do that, what ends up happening is you get it on the calendar, and then you can actually move them through the process. So just remember that as you go through. I'm not closing. I'm just trying to get to the next action, which is to get onto a longer conversation, right? And once you're in that frame of mind, and once you've had that sales call or qualifying call, I should call it. Once you've had that, now you can actually move them through the process, and you can say, "Hey, I think it might make a little bit of sense. I don't know, just to like talk a little bit more about your business and go a little bit deeper because actually what I do is insert value statement, and it might make sense for us to talk about that a little bit more." And they agree, they book the call, they say, yeah, this is going to be great. And before that call ever happens, you send them a pre-selling mechanism. And this pre-selling mechanism, what that is an educational sales video you've crafted. Remember, you are a master of messaging and communication, and you know your prospects better than anybody else. And you're going to put that into a sales video where you can educate your market on what it is you do, how you can help them, and basically confirm for them and educate them exactly why they should work with you and ignite that desire for them to work with you and sell them what you have to offer 85% of the way before you ever get onto a call. Before you ever get onto a deeper, real deal sales call, they are about 85% sold on what it is that you do. And you're going to craft that messaging on point to all the stuff you already know at this point in the process. And this is an example. I told you about the AUM acquisition formula from earlier that Mitch, my partner, used when he was focusing on financial advisors. This is the pre-selling mechanism that he used when he was speaking to them. You're going to have something similar, and it's going to be crafted specifically toward those problems and educating them about what you do. And that makes the close a lot easier, let me tell you. So you're going to just send that to them. They're going to watch it. You're going to get onto the call, and that is when you're going to start to close the deal. I call it gap closing, because what you're doing is any remaining gap that there is between you, and there's going to be a gap. There's going to be a gap between you still, and you want to close that, and that gap is between their current situation, their desired situation, and you want to bring them over to that other side with what you offer. It's the bridge you provide. It's what you need your prospects to walk over if you want them to get the result that they're looking for. And now all you're doing is walking them through your process, your sales process, to get them to that point and understand that this is a decision that they should make for their business for a lot of different reasons, and then make the decision with you and voluntarily, instead of what they're typically used to that I mentioned earlier, of being forced into a decision, pressured into a decision, and ultimately regretting the decision they make sometimes because they didn't have this kind of a process take place. So you're going to do this via your sales process. We do it via our script that we've proven out that we use over and over again all the time. And you want to connect with your prospects on a phone call, a Zoom call, a Skype call, whatever it is that you do to connect with your prospects. You want to have that conversation, walk them through, and close your deal. Boom. That's how it works. That's how you're going to get those results when it comes to connecting with somebody and then bring them all the way to the other side where they become a client and they were a stranger a few days ago. Okay. And once you have that, that's a process that you can rinse and repeat over and over and over again, rinse and repeat. And that is how you're going to get it to scale your business, because remember, this process is automated and you figured out how to do less with more. Now you're only focused on booking the appointments and having the sales calls. You're not focused anymore on the grind and hustle of trying to find people, trying to manually message people, try to get in front of people in different, different kinds of ways, with your time and energy every single day, while doing service delivery and all kinds of other things that are important for the business. You're only focused on booking and sales and improving your process and improving your offer, improving your service, and most importantly, improving how much you know about the prospect. How much you know about the prospect. Everything gets better because now you have the capacity, you have the time and the resources and the energy to actually do that. And that's it. So when you have these three components of the system, when you have knowledge-based targeting and you have messaging and positioning, and you also have the systems and conversions, now you have leverage. And with that leverage, you have an executive advantage. That's what an executive advantage is that leverage where you have these three components. You're the expert authority in your niche. You're getting these predictable leads within your business, and you are starting to enroll people effortlessly into what you have to offer. And that's what an executive advantage is the definition of it, is the power to put plans, actions, and processes into effect that put you in a more favorable and superior position over the competition. That's what it is. And I want to share with you some stories of clients of ours, just so you know exactly what this does. I want you to get an image of exactly what it looks like to go from one end of the spectrum to another when you actually get all three of these components into your business. So this is Nate. Nate is an amazing coaching consultant, and he went from making the occasional sale to making $15,000 in 2 weeks just when he implemented the process. He was relying on cold emails and other cold methods like Facebook organic and posting in groups and making the occasional sale here and there. And he started working with us and got this executive advantage in his business. And then he started to close multiple clients and retainers for $4,800 in the first 2 weeks of implementing the system. And he reported back to us very, very fast. I love the story where he was just excited to go boom, 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 and have 3 sales come into the business very, very fast. And then another one of our clients, Marcus, he's doing some really great work with his digital agency. He was going door to door, which is so hard to do. And he was pitching any business that would talk to him. And then he started to make $7,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue in just a week. So once he had this in place, he was able to do this. And that really allowed him to get to the point where he blew past his record month. And now he's really on pace to, I think, exceeding $30,000 a month. But I love it when people report about these results. Here we go, like boom, number 2 this week. He actually said he had a couple sales calls before posting that. He's like, I got a couple coming up. I'll report back. And it's boom, there's 1, boom, there's number 2. And, couldn't be more excited for him. But then I think about other people that we've worked with who have closed deals like this, like Mike King. He's a marketing consultant as well. He does some really great work and closed multiple 6-figure clients for his business using LinkedIn and having this process. And he has done so many things with marketing and has researched all kinds of things. And he's done so much diligence trying to find the thing that works the best for him. And he was spending thousands of dollars, just researching and testing on LinkedIn, but couldn't get it to work consistently. And that's the situation that I've been talking about, is people just can't get it to work consistently and understand what makes it work. But once we actually worked together and kind of exposed him to this information, he went on to closing, 6-figure clients. And now he's got a full pipeline of people who want to work with him. And LinkedIn is the main source of business and new clients for what he's up to these days. So I'm super proud of him and all these guys. But I tell those stories because I know that so many people want to produce these results too. And before I even talk about anything related to that, I want to repeat what I said before. Because I can feel it coming. People saying, "Oh, there's a pitch coming." There's not. There's nothing for sale today. Nothing for sale today at all. I want to make that upfront and clear and kind of repeat that one more time. But I will be opening up an opportunity for a select number of people to speak with me about it personally. Okay, that will be something that we're going to talk about in just a little bit. But for those who want to know more about how we work with people like Mike and like Nate and like Marcus, this is what we do. So my partner Mitch and I, we help our clients build and deploy this client generating machine for their own businesses and really start to generate those like 5, 10, or 20 high-ticket clients every month for what they do, depending on what they offer, and really just empower them to create this true and pure executive advantage in their market. That's what we help them do every single day. And that's what we dedicate our time to. And all of this happens inside of our mentorship program. Inside of our mentorship program and our private mastermind community, that's where it happens. We work with people very hands-on, and I want you to understand what the client experience looks like. It looks a little bit like this, very, very fast in a few minutes. In the first week, we really dig into your market. We really dig into those people. We find out who they are. We find out what they care about. We find out their true nature, and we really come to a conclusion about what that looks like. And then we're crafting your value statement, and your messages are ready to go. And we actually craft your proprietary method together. We look at your LinkedIn profile and we get your audience dialed in. And then the second week, we're looking at your sequence and your actual follow-ups and the messages you're sending out to these people, the message you're deploying. And we're putting a full sales pipeline into place, the automations, the systems, the actual machine, and getting it launched. And then we're generating these qualified sales appointments and closing clients. And then the third week, we're really starting to say, okay, now we have some clients coming in, we have leads coming in, so we're going to look at the actual sales conversation, the conversion method, and we're going to optimize that to its maximum ability. And then we're going to turn that into that repeatable process that we talked about. And as that actually goes on, what we're going to be doing is gather market feedback for improvement. Iteration improvement is what it's all about, and that's what actually leads you to being the market leader and being able to maintain that positioning long term, okay? In the fourth week, what we do is we actually look to the pre-selling mechanism that we talked about, how to set that up, and just generating these additional sales appointments and really talk about how to dramatically improve those sales skills even more, constantly improving and close more clients and retainers. And that's just in the first month. That's what it looks like in the first month. And the thing that we haven't talked about yet, because we just purely do not have time, is next we actually throw some more fuel on the fire, so to speak, and we unleash this omnipresent firestorm to start to scale the business up to the 7 figures and beyond, because there's more that you can do. LinkedIn is not your limitation. LinkedIn is really the starting point, as good a results as you can get with it. What we do is we're able to actually leverage our LinkedIn prospects off of LinkedIn, go to other platforms and get in front of the exact same people who we've started relationships with and familiarity with, and drive them into our pre-selling mechanism. So you can see here in this, diagram that kind of shows the full process. You know, we have LinkedIn here at the top, then we have display ads here in the middle, then we have Facebook ads here at the bottom. But it's doing it all to your LinkedIn prospects, all the people that you've already got in front of and the list that you have built, and we drive them into this pre-selling mechanism. They watch this video, they've gotten familiar with what you do, and then they book a sales appointment within your applications, within your calendar links, whatever you have set up. They book the call with you on the calendar. And now we're talking about not just getting prospects from LinkedIn where you're starting that conversation and the follow-up sequence and all that stuff. Now you are getting people to book with you who just saw you somewhere else after they connected with you on LinkedIn. And now they want to talk to you. They fill out an application on their own volition, their own intention, their own desire, and now they're on a sales call with you. And those close even easier. So I want you to know that, but I want to remind you that the skill that we've talked about here, this skill that we've talked about of strategic communication and persuasion, this is what makes everything work. I don't want you to lose sight of that. No matter what, I don't want you to lose sight of that, because that's the problem out there in the market. Like I've talked about so much. I mean, it's like beating a dead horse, but I've got to say it again. It's easy to get caught up in the cool tech and the cool systems and all that stuff, all the softwares and all that, but the skill is what makes it work. That's the main focus before anything else. And that's just the beginning. Once you have the skill, then you can build on top of it. Then you can build these other things. Then you can really start to scale up. And that's when it really gets really fun. And then you can have these qualified appointments coming in from a bunch of different angles, 4 or 5 different channels. You can have these sales appointments coming in. It's not just about LinkedIn. I want you to think bigger here. Think bigger. So the way people learn all this stuff is they have access to our private training portal, has everything that you could possibly need to know about LinkedIn, about the process, about building the skill. Like, I mean, dozens and dozens of hours on how to do all of this stuff. And when I say mentorship, I mean it. I don't say anything that I don't mean, but especially when it comes to mentorship, and Mitch feels the exact same way. We actually give you personal mentorship, personal guidance, and dig our teeth in to what you're doing. We have multiple sessions with you where we talk on video, we talk on Zoom calls. We really dig into what you're doing specifically. And we also get into our Facebook community with our electric community that we've built and actually handle any questions that you have about your messaging, about your systems, about your processes, about any challenges. Doesn't matter. You know, here's one of our awesome students who actually wrote, you know, I've crafted my first messages and I'm not really sure how to feel about it. Can you guys give me some feedback? And you know, here's a Mitch. I wish I could expand this on the slide here. I wish it was Facebook, but you know, Mitch gives a very, very big breakdown of exactly what's there. Got Jeff here who actually gave his input as well. He uses the system every day, and it's not just us. You know, that's what's so great about it. It's not just us. You know, there's a whole team of people that we work with. Our executive team is incredible, and everybody is there to help our clients actually execute this for their business and get it working. So I don't want to focus on the technology or anything like that, but you know, this isn't some cloud-based, this isn't some like, you know, non-cloud-based Chrome extension, some, you know, shitty Chrome extension that people are using to get in front of their prospects and crawling websites and stuff like that. LinkedIn hates those. And I suggest that people avoid them. This is a cloud-based software. It's API connected into Sales Navigator, directly gets you all the information you need, advanced automations and follow-ups and your pipeline, your prospect management, access to all the data and emails that you need from your prospects. All their contact information comes through the process. And this is what we make available only to our clients that go through it. It looks like this. This is one of the dashboards. Just keep track of every single prospect that you have, walking them through where they're at. Are they in your LinkedIn campaign? Are they in an email campaign that you put them into? Did you have a discovery call? How did that go? How did the strategy session go? How much have you made this month? How many calls do you have booked this month? This is what it shows you from a high level view. And you can track all this information that you have, how many contacts you have, how everything is going that particular month, how it's been going over time, all that stuff that you need to run your business in a systematized way and not just be manually reaching out to people. And even down to the financials. People forget about the financials, they forget about the numbers, but the numbers are actually my favorite thing about business, besides helping people, is to look at the numbers because they're honest. They tell you where you're currently at. They tell you what you can improve. They tell you where you might be lacking or where you're actually making a mistake that you couldn't see before. They're very, very honest. And this keeps you in the frame of mind of knowing where you're currently at, basing your decisions on things that are real facts about today and not emotions. You can base everything on data with these different things. This is all you need to grow and scale this business to multiple 6 or 7 figures, starting on LinkedIn and expanding outward from there. Okay. So I know a lot of you are asking, you know, where do we go from here? You know, what happens now, especially if like we're not talking about some kind of like a sale or anything like that. You know, what happens next? And you know, I want to share with you that there's a decision that I want you to really think about and make, and it's yours entirely. Okay? And this is the decision, and we've all been here. But the decision is you can either take this path, take path number 1, you can figure everything out on your own. We did. You can test thousands of messages, you know, just try them and really just try to dig into everything we've used today and get results today. You can blow thousands of dollars and hours just trying to master it and try to build the muscle, build the skill. You can spend a ton of time trying to do it like we did in the trenches, trying to make it work. Or you can explore, and I really want to emphasize explore, this path. This path where there's a complete proven process for you on day 1. The messages are battle tested, the sequences are battle tested, everything is automated, the machine is running, there's proven scripts. You're going to improve your ability and skills and mastery of the science and personal guidance and mentorship from us and our community who have already done it. So a lot of people have chosen this path, and if you want to choose this path too, I mean, you'll be in good company. We've worked with over 120 people, but before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to tell you what's really going on when it comes to the opportunity that I mentioned, right? The opportunity that I mentioned. And we're opening up 15 spots by application only. 15 spots by application only. There's a reason why we're doing this. And this is going to be for specific people on this call if you actually identify with one of these. 15 spots that are going to go to people who are coaches, consultants, experts, you know, salespeople, service-based business owners who can identify their prospects on LinkedIn, who are, you know, currently getting business, getting clients, making some sales, who've gotten started, gotten their feet off the ground. And it's for marketing agency owners, you know, people who already have some current clients under retainer, people who, you know that they're great at what they do, especially experts in their field and their skills, and who believe they can just dominate their market on LinkedIn if they have the right system. and people who know they can make a high 6-figure or even 7-figure income doing it because they understand the opportunity, they actually get it. And it's for people who are just really, really committed to scaling. Not everybody wants to scale. That's the thing. Not everybody wants to scale. Not everybody wants to take it to a really high level with the business. They do just want to, bring in some sales here and there, and that's okay. Everybody's goals are different. But if you're ready to get to that next level, and that would apply to you. And of course, it's for people who understand they need some skin in the game. We work with people all the time. It's not cheap to work with us. I'm completely transparent about everything. It's not cheap to work with us, but people who understand they at least need some skin in the game to actually get involved with something like this. And if you're still here listening to me, then I really want you to understand some important things before you actually apply, okay? Some really important things before you apply. And those are right here. I want to be really, really clear about this. I don't want there to be any misunderstandings. I want to be very clear. There's no guarantee whatsoever that you're going to get into this program or even have a phone call based on an application. But you've taken the first step in that process, though. This is the first step in that process. And the next step is going to be submit your application and book what will be a tentative time slot for a phone call. A tentative time slot for a phone call. Now, once you do that, I'm actually going to personally go through every single application that comes in from this session here tonight. I'm going to go through every single one myself by hand. I'm going to spend a lot of time doing it. And in that process, a select number of applicants are going to be accepted and their time slots are going to be confirmed, okay? So you have a tentative time slot, then your time slot will be confirmed after review by myself, by our team. And the question is kind of like, why am I doing this, right? Why am I spending the time to do that? And there are 3 really important reasons that I need you to take home with you. And the first reason is, those applications that are accepted, I'm going to be speaking with you personally. Either myself or my business partners or one of our executive coaches that you saw on the slides before. One of us is going to be talking to you. Most likely it's going to be me, most likely. And at this point in time, we just don't have enough time in our calendars to connect with everybody. We just don't. Things are crazy and busy right now. We don't have the time as much as we wish we did. So since that's the case, what we want to make sure we do is make sure that we're only speaking to the most serious applicants who are really going to benefit from the value that we aim to provide and the value we will provide on the call. And most importantly, people who will also meet our really highest standards, because that's a word that I don't throw around lightly. I want to pause here to make that point. It's a word I don't throw around lightly. Standards is something we're very clear on, because after working extensively with just really hands-on and digging in our heels with over 120 entrepreneurs at this point through this process, we're very, very clear on who is a good fit and who's just not quite ready. And if you're not quite ready, that's totally fine. But we're very clear on who is going to get the best results and who is most likely to not get the results they want and who might need more time. So that leads me to the second reason why I'm doing this, and it's really important why I'm reviewing every application, because not everybody's going to apply for the curriculum and the training and the direct mentorship we provide. Not everybody is going to be a fit for this curriculum and training and mentorship. And that's a fact. Not everybody will be a fit, and not everyone is actually going to resonate with the strong, growing, and powerful community of entrepreneurs that we've built at this time. So yes, we are looking for people just like you. We're looking for people who want to explode, both inside of their business and inside of this experience that we've created for you, but also those who are committed to long-term expansion, who are a great fit for what we do, and who will add to the already supportive, growth-minded, and just positive energy that exists inside of our community. And the third and final reason that I'm going to leave you with why I'm reviewing every single application is because, unlike the average course or training, this is so different. This experience is very hands-on. Like I said, when I say mentorship, I mean guidance, I mean getting very hands-on, meaning Mitch and I are going to sit down with you and other members of the community for, like I mentioned before, 2 live coaching sessions every single week, and get hands-on with you inside of our Facebook community. And during these exchanges, we will actually be building shit together and help you troubleshoot, help you improve things, help you take action and implement everything. I talk about implementation, implement everything into your business so you can execute properly and you can get results as fast as possible. That's the goal. So because we'll be building this kind of direct relationship with you, we need to be that much more selective in our process. It has to be right for you. It has to be right for us. It has to be a mutual relationship where we're headed toward the same goal. And we both have to care about that goal and see the vision on the same level for it to work. So that's very important for us to understand going into the whole process. And that's how it works. That's how it works, my friends. It's no more complicated than that. So if you want to be considered for one of these spots, and not only master the skill, but if you want to learn the skill, really become a pro at it and internalize it, like we've discussed, the skill called strategic communication and persuasion on LinkedIn, but you also want to build and deploy a system around it, like we've talked about, to leverage that skill at scale. And then start to consistently book those appointments inside of your business with spending less time to do it, and engage your prospects every single day with that certainty that I talk about. Then what I want you to do is go to the link above, go.executiveadvantage.co/apply. I want you to go to that link. I want you to apply and submit an application. I want you to submit an application and find out exactly what this might look like for you. And when you actually do this, just keep in mind that over 350 people registered for this webinar, 350 people registered for it. And with that being the case, we just don't know how many people we're going to be able to get to if they actually apply late, if they apply in a day, if they wait too long, we don't know. Over 350 people are registered for the training. So we're going to actually review these on a first come, first serve basis. And we're going to close it down in 7 days, or when spots are filled, whichever comes first. It's not about filling spots. It's about filling spots with the right people. Even if it's less than 15, we want the right people who are going to be an asset to the community, who we're actually going to be able to get results for and really be a part of their success. That's what it's all about. So with that said, like I said before, if you're satisfied with the results that you're getting, then awesome. If you're getting great results that are working for you in your business, great. Or if you don't believe this is for you, or for whatever reason, that's totally okay. That's totally okay if that's the case. But after what I've shared with you today, after walking through this process with me, after understanding the information I've shared with you, if deep down you really honestly think that this might be for you, then I encourage you to click the button that should show up somewhere around here, either above or below. Click the button to visit the link if it doesn't show up. Put an application through, and we'll find out for sure. We will find out for sure if it makes sense for you. And if it doesn't, at least you know for a fact. But at the end of the day, you might be right. It might make sense for you. It might work for you. It might be the thing that you need to get to that next level. And we're here to help. And we're always here to help. But the only way that we're actually going to find out whether we can help is if you take that next step and put yourself out there and find out for sure. So in closing, this has been an amazing session. I can't believe we went for an hour and 47 minutes, it looks like. This has been a long session, but I see a lot of people have stuck it out through to the end, and it's been awesome to share this stuff with you. And this is what the path looks like. It's been laid out for you. Everybody that is still here with me, the path has been laid out for you, but the decision to walk down that path, the decision to actually take that step forward is 100% up to you. I'm not going to push you down, and Mitch wouldn't push you down it, and it's not like that at all. It's 100% up to you, and I'm just happy that you have this information that most people do not, and I know that you're going to get incredible results with it. I just want to thank you for joining me here tonight. I hope you found value in what I shared here, and I hope even more that you're actually going to implement what you learned here. This is how I'm going to close, is implement what you learned. Just like I've said a bunch of times tonight, implementation. Remember, knowledge is power, but only applied knowledge gets results. So as usual, be great, everybody. And to some of you, I will speak to you very soon. Have a great night, okay? Take care.